Welcome, everyone. You're tuning into Engaging Walk. My name is Drake.
And my name is Ruby.
We believe in the power of walking together and talking together.
It's a simple act to stay connected, and movement is key.
This week, we're going to be discussing our third part of this intimacy series, which is going to be showing appreciation and a gratitude for your spouse's actions. Mm-hmm. So this week, we did a lot of engaging walking.
Yes.
An unbelievable amount of engaging walking, probably more than we should have been doing.
Yeah.
So we're not really going to pick a specific location because we have a big surprise for you guys coming up in the next couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. So once we wrap up this intimacy series, we are going to show you guys the footage and the talks that we're going to be having about traveling together from an epic trip that we just completed, going throughout California and visiting a lot of the national parks and cities around here.
Yeah.
And it was super fun, a little tiring, but really, really worth it. And we
recovering from the trip.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're really excited to show you guys the footage and talk more about that later on.
Uh-huh.
But let's continue on with this intimacy series. So this is going to be a really important topic. It's about intimacy, how intimacy relates to appreciation and gratitude in the relationship, which is really important, especially as time goes on, because this can be harder to illustrate once you've been together for some time.
Mm-hmm. So, would you like to jump right in? So, what is it so important to show appreciation and gratitude in marriage? What do you think about it?
Well, I probably have different thoughts about this now than I did about a week ago, because while we were on the road trip, we're listening to the Kylo Show, which is a show that I highly recommend. It's called Keep Your Love On. It's by Danny Silk and his family. Mm-hmm. And there was a guest that talked about, or I would say not a guest, but a question that they posed from one of the listeners that said something along the lines of like, hey, my husband is always looking for affirmation, and he's looking for not so much like feedback, but gratitude and appreciation for all of his actions, and then it makes the wife feel like she's being manipulated into giving him these words of affirmation and this acknowledgement. Mm-hmm. And I can see how it could feel like that, especially if it's constant, especially if it's like hey, I took out the trash, like, don't you want to say thank you? But it can get to that point, but I think overall humans need feedback, and humans need to feel appreciated, especially by the people that we love the most.
It's true.
And not just in the relationship, but in the workplace and friendships. You know, you want to be intrinsically, I think, recognized for the work that you do.
Yeah.
Or at least acknowledged. Maybe not like celebrated and given awards and accolades and things like that, but like, hey, you took out the trash. I really appreciate you having, you doing that without me asking you to do it. And I think, that can be a little tiring, but hey, if your partner is bringing something to the table, whether it be in a relationship, workplace, music, like if you're working in a music group and like someone brings something to the table, like, hey, you know what? I really like that bass guitar part you did, or the drum part, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Acknowledging them goes a long way.
It's true. I think there's a beauty of the balance of it. Like it's not healthy when you refuse to be recognized. Because I used to be like that. I was like, I know I don't have to, because that could come from pride. Mm-hmm. And or you just constantly look for appreciation, we're just you in need of that, and it's not healthy at all.
Right.
And of course we cannot ignore the need of being heard, being seen. And I think that is very we need to learn how to take and to receive and to give away in a balance, And as as a teacher, I have seen that or experienced, throughout the years, that it's very healthy for children to know how to receive it, and to know that they are heard, they are seen for what they have done, and and receive it. And I think it's also applied very the same way with the partner. And it just when you feel that you are heard and you are seen, one of the things that you do, and I think it will it will give you a courage to go extra mile. It will give you like, yes, I want to do that, and it just gives you a push to do more for your partner. Do you think so?
Yeah,
do you have
I
a
think
way?
There's a lot there. There's a lot there to talk about, but yeah, I think if like you talked about with the balance, that there are certain scenarios in which, yeah, like just like how that lady was talking about, where if you're only doing it for the recognition, for the accolades, then that could be manipulation. It depends, but I can see how that would be if you are like only doing things just for the recognition, just so that people could see you. Yeah, I could see that. But on the other hand, if you're not getting any recognition at all and you're just still trucking along, I think like that is its own form of, yeah, it's just kind of sad. Like, and it reminded me, I was thinking about that as you were talking about it, that it reminded me of a episode in a show that I watched called Breaking Bad, where this man manipulated another man into doing things that he should not have been doing. So in the show, he's doing like illegal activity, and his boss is like, "Hey, you're a man, and a man does things without appreciation, without gratitude. Even if his family doesn't like him for it, he still does those things anyways." And then that is a form of manipulation, because what you're doing is you're saying like, "Hey, regardless of what your family wants, this is what you're supposed to do. Even though your family is telling you don't do that, or we don't want you doing that, that's your role." And that's not what you should be doing. And that's the importance of recognition. That's the importance of acknowledgement. Is there's the feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for taking out the trash. That's what I expect of this relationship, because you're the man and the trash tends to be heavy, and I can't make it down all the stairs. Whatever the situation might be, that aspect of giving appreciation and gratitude makes your partner more inclined to do it and feels like, I'm doing the right thing. Makes them feel like they're on the right track. And then like, who's going to want to do something if, your partner doesn't like it? So for example, if you're like, "Hey, sweetheart, like, let me give you a massage tonight." And your wife is like, "No, I don't want a massage." And then the next night you're like, "Hey, let me give a massage for you." And your wife's like, "No, I don't want a massage." Well, at some point you're going to stop asking. It's likewise if your wife gets the massage every night, but she doesn't say that she likes it. Well, you might be like, "Well, I'm not really sure if she likes it or not." That's like the feedback, the communication, and the acknowledgement that goes all into that to make you feel connected and to know what's working and what's not working.
Yeah, and I think you also share my thoughts a little bit. Like, looking back to my upbringing, sometimes like I from Asian, culture, so word affirmation is not something that we grow up with. And if you are Asian, you probably understand what I'm trying to say. We don't say I love you, or give kisses and hugs. Very minimum amount of. I would not say they never say it. They would say it like, "Hey, you did a good job. You did a good job." But compared to American culture or Western culture that I have been experienced, there's ways less. And as I talk about in this topic, I think it's help the relationship stay alive. And just like you said, like you need feedback to know that, am I doing a good job? Is that what you want? It's just showing, not just a feedback, but also showing like, "Hey, I communicate with you my need, and thank you for doing that. I appreciate that." And because without the feedback, for me, to be honest, no matter how much you love the person, it can turn into just a job, just like, okay, a routine. I do this because that's my job, or we agree on that, and it will make the relationship dry up really fast without appreciation.
Yeah. I mean, even this podcast, we do this podcast, and Ruby does a great job with outlining content, her vision for content, and then my end of like this, like, you know, I help with that too, but my end of the spectrum is like, hey, I handle more of like the recording, audio engineering, doing like the videos and things like that. And like, but together we come together and we do good work together.
Yeah.
You know, so, but if I don't acknowledge her role and then like, oh, I'm doing everything by myself. No, she brings her role to the table. And then how is she supposed to know that if I don't say, hey, babe, thank you so much for, you know, doing like the content. I really love like how much you outline it. And if she's like, well, I do everything myself, but that she doesn't acknowledge like the role that I take of doing like audio, video, and things like that, then like that work will stymie. It won't go anywhere. And I've seen that in my own work where there's really, really motivated people that, you know, end up joining the military, and they do great work. And there's a whole lot of people that don't really do anything. So
probably they don't feel appreciated or seen and heard.
They don't feel appreciated. They don't feel heard, and they feel like, what's the point of me doing all of these things if no one understands or sees what I do?
Yeah.
And then, you know, it might even go a step further, where you know, we were watching Kitchen Nightmares.
Yes.
And there was like this guy that just like, he was the chef, and his brother was like the bartender, and everyone was just ragging on the chef. But the day that he left, they all realized what he brought. They all realized like, oh, he has the hardest job here, and we don't support him. And it took him to walk away for them to all realize what he brought to the table. And it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be. You should not have to. Your absence should not explain what you do, because people should be acknowledging you. And if they're not, then there's a problem. There's a misconception of who does what. And that is just as true in a relationship between two people as it is for a workplace, because in the household, there's a lot of things to do.
It's true. There's a lot of things you know it can be done and need to be done. And it needs two people to communicate with each other and, you know, show appreciation. It goes along the way, you know. And, as a team, we need to appreciate each other and, you know. And I appreciate, you know, whenever that Drake come home and he will, you know, appreciate how I've been taking care of the house, or, you know, Boba, our dog. And... or just simple things like, oh, thank you for doing this for me, or, you know, prepare my lunch. So just simple things, you know, help me to feel like, okay, I'm not doing this by myself. Or he see that, and it just comfort. It's very comforting.
Yeah, it lets your partner know, like, hey, please keep doing that. I appreciate it. I see it. If you make lunch every day for me, and then I just like, okay, that's just normal, you know.
Yeah, and people can take advantage of that. Say, yeah, it's your job. You, my wife, you have to do it. No. Everybody get to do things that, you know, we are powerful, and then we choose it because, you know, I love you and I want to serve you.
Oh, I love you too.
And I want to take care of you. And I think, and then to hear that from the other, you know, partner, it's just rewarding and comforting. And I think that's the beauty of relationship. You know, you get to share things and do things together. And hey, maybe before, as a single life, you have to prepare your food. You have to, I'm not sure if you prepare it, but like you have to worry about that. Now you don't, because you have a team. You know?
And then Ruby will do thank me for very simple things like driving. She'll be like, oh, thank you so much for driving during that trip, or driving here and there and doing this. And that's my job as, you know, the husband, you know. But that makes me feel better knowing that she knows, like, hey, he does the driving, like, I don't have to worry about that. But, you know, again, that acknowledgement and that feedback shows what we're doing is working. What we're doing is balance and harmony, and it's good.
And just one more sharing. Like I overheard a conversation from a couple, and they said like, I've done this and that, I've been folding clothes and put things away. And then the husband, yeah, I did too. I did the other thing. I drove you everywhere, but you didn't appreciate me. And the wife turned around and said like, you need words, you need like my words and thank you for that. Like for sometimes what I'm trying to say, I'm not criticizing them. The only thing what I'm trying to say is that sometimes we think that our partner has done it so many times and we took it for granted. Yeah. And then we say like, oh yeah, it's your job. No. Whenever that we think that way, is we're not looking at them with their bringing to the table. And I think just me, like whenever I have that thought, I'm like, oops, I should not do that. I should not think of that way. I should appreciate him. And even though sometimes, to be honest, sometimes it's kind of weird to say thank you all the time to your partner. But I think it's healthy and it's, it just, again, show appreciation and gratitude. Like, hey, I know you like to do that. You like to drive. You want to drive, and he would not let me drive when we go together. Very rare that I drive. I'm a good driver.
She's a good driver.
Just so you know, I'm not a crazy driver. But he just wants to protect and provide and make sure that I'm, in a good shape and make sure that I'm comfortable on the drive. But, still I can see he's get tired. He's, he needs some help. He needs some break. And so saying thank you, it just really helped him to like, okay, cool. I can tough up and finish, the ride. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think in the end, what we're talking about is not just for our whole goal of talking about this is increasing intimacy.
Yeah.
And this is going to increase intimacy for 100%. But just basic level of relationship, regardless of what the relationship is, there needs to be that feedback of, hey, I like how you did that. I didn't like that you did that. Or like even a workplace, like take, for example, I have, around 6 people who work under me. In the military, and I supervise them. Now they screw up sometimes, and I let them know, like, hey, this thing that you guys did, not so good. Now we have to do this and that to fix it. But equally, if I only did that, or if I didn't acknowledge the work that they do, then all they're gonna get is a negative.
It's true.
So, because I have to correct what they are not doing correctly, that's my job. But if I don't take the time to acknowledge, hey, I know that that's your job, but I still appreciate it anyway. I appreciate that you do it without complaint. That's another big thing. I appreciate that you do it without me asking you to do it. I see it, I recognize it, and thank you for that because you make my job easier. And I just want to show you that I see it. That's all. And I can see that it goes a long way. It goes a long way with them. It goes a long way in any relationship. I work with musicians too in my music work. And acknowledging them for what they do bring to the table is huge.
Yeah.
Because it's in the workplace, in music, and in relationship, what you bring can be shot down. And if it gets shot down, ooh, that's my my heart. My heart got shot. So sometimes that's going to happen, though. Sometimes, like, hey, when you did that, I didn't like it so much. So taking that time to acknowledge the good things is very, very important because that's the feedback loop that we need. And that's when they now feel safe to come out and show what they're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
Especially like in relationships.
And I think you mentioned a very good point that, like if you just come and just share negative things, so the narrative or the way that you communicate with me is just negative. So even before you approach me and share with me, when I see you, I'm saying, oh, negative words gonna come out of that mouth, and I don't want to hear it, and I don't think that is good for relationship. Yeah. And so sharing sharing your heart out, and then also showing appreciation and gratitude is really not just heal the relationship, but also, make the relationship last longer. And that's what we also share from, the previous one is like the small things that you do every single day to your partner goes a long way. And that will just contribute, bit by bit to your intimacy with each other. Well, having said that, let's talk about our assignment for this week. Shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, sit down with your partner or take them on a walk and just show them appreciation. Share maybe 3 things that you appreciate them throughout the week, and share with them how you feel about it when they appreciate you. Because I think it's good to hear feedback as well.
Yeah, I think when you go on an engaging walk, engaging walk, you go out and you share those things. Hey, I love how you do this. I love how you do that. This really makes my day. I so look forward to coming home and seeing this. I so look forward to this moments together or this thing that we're going to be doing. All those things really help to build the connection and intimacy. And that's what we're trying to do with this series. That's what we're trying to do with Engaging Walk, is build connection in marriages and in relationships, because when you're connected, nothing can get into your relationship to destroy it.
And then you can take the world together.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful thing when it works, and it's a beautiful thing when you have that support system. You have that support at home, because the world will throw all sorts of crazy things at you. But if you have someone at home that's always got your back, and you work as a team, then there's so much more that you can do together.
Yeah. And say that, well, this is our episode for part 3, showing gratitude and appreciations for your partner. And thank you so much for taking out your time and listening to us and to our podcast. And we appreciate that. And thank you so much for taking this time to build up your intimacy with your partner. That means so much. Yep.
And we got intimacy part 4 coming up next week, next Monday. So it's going to be the importance of quality time together. Another big one.
If you are a quality time,
love language,
yeah, you want to tune out to this, tune into this, not tune out. My bad.
Oh, those prepositions.
Oh dear.
And in English, the prepositions are super specific, whereas in other languages they're not as specific. So Ruby's first language is Vietnamese, but she is fluent in English. But sometimes those prepositions, man, they'll get you.
For sure.
Not just her, but like I have a friend that I used to work at a lab with, and he was like, I cannot. He was from Uzbekistan.
Okay.
He was from Uzbekistan, USSR, and he was like, I cannot understand like how which one I use in or on, and I was like, yeah, that could be really tricky now that I think about it. Like you live on this street, but in this city, in this country, on planet Earth.
Anyways, that's our 1 minute ESL class.
Yeah, so we got more intimacy episodes coming up, and then really stay tuned. I am super excited for the California road trip that we did. I've been working on that on the video editing for that, so stay tuned for that. I'm super excited to let you guys know about it. And we got some shorts coming up, some other small videos. And so we're super looking forward to that. We want to thank you guys for tuning in, and give us a like, a follow, a subscribe. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and I think they're getting rid of Stitcher, not just for us, but for everybody in general. So if you're listening on Stitcher and you want to find somewhere else, I think Spotify is a good place, but you can also just go onto our website, www.engagingwalk.com. You can find the content there. You can find the content pretty much wherever you can find.
Even podcasts. On YouTube. We also have one in YouTube.
Yeah, we're having a lot more content on YouTube, a lot more videos and shorts and things like that. So, yeah, and then give us a like on Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, definitely some new people have been tuning in, so we're really thankful and happy to see you guys.
And we appreciate that those that reach out to us and send us comments, and we read every single one of them, and
yeah, we appreciate
love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, the whole point of this, we love to see people engage with the Engaging Walk content. But yeah, we love you guys. It's super great to be able to network and work with other married couples, or even couples that are just in relationships and looking to get married, or people that are single and want more information about making healthy decisions in their relationships. But long-winded, we'll wrap that up. Thank you guys again, and this is Drake and Ruby with Engaging Walk.
We are signing out. Bye.